Good morning, students. Today we'll start with the second chapter of geography, that is land, soil, water, natural resources, and wildlife. To understand land and soil, we will use example from the book that is about two villages from two different countries. A girl whose name is Mamba. She lives in a village in Tanzania, in Africa. Through her life, we can understand the type of land there. She gets up early in the morning, walks so many kilometers to fetch water. She comes up back after few hours. That from there you can understand how far the place is. After getting water, she helps her mother for doing the household work, and she also helps her brother to take care of the goats. Her father is having a small piece of land which is not so good. It's a rocky land. There he is able to only cultivate some maize as well as beans. That is not sufficient for a family to live. Whereas we will now hear about Peter, who is from a village in New Zealand. He lives in the heart of the region, or in a village where sheep rearing is very common. When he returns from the school, he could see that his uncle is taking care of their sheep. They have a big sheep yard, and which is situated on a wide grass plain. And this land is managed very scientifically by using latest technology. And from this we could see that it is very well arranged, as well as it uses latest technology for farming. Peter's family also grows some vegetables through organic farming. Same way, let us see the Madhya Pradesh. Very lush greenery. And it is a beautiful place to see the village. We have so many natural resources. Depends on the availability of these resources only. The places as well as their uses changes. Here in case of Mamba and Peter, they are in two different parts of the world, and they also lead a very different lifestyle. This difference in the lifestyle is because of the difference in the quality of land, quality of soil, availability of water, natural vegetation, animals, and the usage of technology. All these factors affect the way how the land is used as well as the way people live. Land is one of the most important natural resources. This land is only 30% of the total area of the Earth's surface is covered. It covers only 30%. It covers only 30% of total area of the Earth's surface. That means this whole population, they share this 30% of the land only. The remaining 70% of the land that is not suitable for people to live. Even this 30% of the land that is not evenly, it is not equally distributed among the population. Sometimes some places the land is good, suitable for cultivation. Sometimes land is too rocky area, not good for cultivation. Mountain areas, slopy areas. This all are reasons why the population in different parts of the world is not equal. Land is used widely for agriculture, then for forestry, for mining, for building houses in the villages as well as in urban areas, for making roads, for setting industries. For all this land is used. Its use is determined by some factors. For what we use the land, that determined by some of the factors like topography of that land, how the land is or where it is situated, the soil, the climate, minerals and the water availability. These all are the factors which decides for what the land is being used. These are the physical factors why or for what the land is being used. Now let us see the land use in some of the countries, how they are different. Land is limited and there is also change in the land use. Let us study this table. In the table we could see the countries like Australia, Brazil, Canada, China, France, India, Japan, Russia, UK, USA. From this, if we see the crop land, India is having the highest percentage of crop land. The land available in India, out of that 57% of the area is used for crop land. But whereas in pasture, Australia is on the first. If we consider the forest, Japan is having highest percentage of area of forest. And a country which use land for other purposes than this, Canada uses its land for other purpose. The land is also divided. This limited land which is available, that is divided on the basis of private as well as community land. Community land is for all those who are in the community. But many a times gradually the community land which is for the common use that get converted to some of the other purpose. So people get less land only for their use, because this all happens due to the increased demand of people for the availability of land, as well as the quality of the land that also differs from place to place. Sometimes people also start to encroach the common land, the land which is like green belt areas, forest areas. This all sometimes people encroach, they illegally they occupy. These days we could see a lot of change in the land use. Look at this picture. The first figure a village area where few houses and more cropland is there. Gradually after some years, some more building, the style of building as well as changed. The small huts which that is replaced by double-story bungalows. Again after some more time, the roads developed, vehicles are going, more buildings came. Still little bit greenery or little bit portion is kept for either for park or for the common use. But later in the fourth picture we could see that there is no such area even. Everything is converted to huge buildings. Due to this type of use, that also cause for the degradation of land. Too many buildings, that leads to imbalance in the ecosystem itself. These late days we could hear from different parts of the world that landslides happens, soil erosion, that is every day. As well as there is desertification. These are the major threats to the earth itself. How we could conserve our land? We need to stop overuse of the natural resources to conserve. First of all, the demand always increases. There is no limitation of human demand. But some other way we have to stop the overuse of natural resources. To have a control of land degradation, we need to stop afforestation, we need to stop cutting of trees, we need to reduce the use of chemicals in the form of pesticides or fertilizers. We need to control overgrazing. We need to also change the pattern of cultivation. With all this, we can conserve the land. Now let us see the topic soil. The top layer of the earth, that is the soil. It is a grainy substance. It is a thin, grainy substance covering the surface of the earth. Various landforms determine the type of soil, and depends on the type of soil what we can cultivate also changes. The soil is made up of minerals as well as weathered rocks and organic matter. This happens not all of a sudden, through seasoning, or it takes time. To make a soil fertile, the proper mix of minerals, there should be minerals as well as organic matters. Then only the soil will be fertile. It takes hundred of years to make 1 centimeter of soil. Due to the temperature change, due to rain, due to the decomposing of animals, plants, or the land or soil becomes more fertile. The top soil with the humus and vegetation, that is more fertile. Below the top soil, that is a subsoil with the sand and silt and clay. Below that is a weathered rock material, and then the parent rock, which is hard. Let us see how the soil is formed. Normally it is a parental rock, or its nature of the parent rock and a climate factor that will decide soil formation. Also the type of the land, organic materials, time taken for composition, all this. This changes from one place to other also, like climate change. Climate, temperature, rainfall, this influence the rate of weathering as well as humus. How much time it takes to change from one form to other. And through years only, the thickness of the soil, time determines the thickness of soil profile, whether this thickness of the soil is hard or soft. Also, the microorganisms and the small plants, flora, fauna, this all affect the rate of humus formation. Same with the relief altitude, or how the whether the land is in slanting or a hilly area or a sloppy area determines the accumulation of soil. If the sloppy area is not protected, naturally the soil will be flown, and the parental rock that determines the color, texture, and the chemical properties which are available in the soil. Now let us see the degradation of the soil, how it happens, and how we can, or what are the conservation measures we have to take to protect the soil. Degradation factors like deforestation, more and more people are cutting trees, that leads to deforestation. Overgrazing is another reason. Then the overuse of chemical in the form of pesticides or in the form of fertilizer. Rain wash. Due to heavy rain, there is chance of the fertilized land flows along with the water. The landslides, there also the fertile land flows away. The flood takes full area sometimes. Everything goes with the flood. This flood-like situation happens sometimes when prolonged rain is there. There's a chance of landslide happening. Along with the landslide, all the materials, including the soil, slate, sand, everything flows away. That reaches the rivers, that again block the river, and then it leads to a heavy flood. Conservation methods. How can we conserve the soil? One way of conserving is by leaving or between the plants a layer of organic matter like straw. We can even use dry leaves or branches in between the crop too, so that the top layer of the soil that will not be flown even if a heavy rain is there. This method is known as mulching. Counter barriers, or we can also use the stones or grass or soil. These are used to build barriers. Even we can think about making a trench or digging between the land, or after some land within the land itself where we are not cultivating, make trenches as a barrier to collect the water. Another way is a rock dam. It will help to collect the water. Rocks are piled up to slow down the flow of water. This will help us to prevent the soil loss. Terrace farming is when the land is in slope. Terrace farming will help to do some cultivation without losing much of the soil in a step by step way planting, that is terrace farming. Intercropping, more than one crop, one after the other, different crops are used. Also, in between we can have a plowing or without or according to the pattern of the land, parallel to the land we could plow so that hill slopes to form a natural barrier. Naturally it will be stopping the soil to flow away. Shelter belt in case of coastal areas or the dry land. These regions, dry region, their plant could be used. The coastal areas, big rocks could be used to check the wind movement. These all are the methods how we can prevent degradation of the soil. Once the degradation happens, when we are throwing so many waste, plastic waste, when the landslide happens, forest, or when we cut the trees, when a sloppy land is not take care, flood like situation, this all leads to degradation of the land. To save soil from its degradation, we have to use different methods like terrace farming, or we can have trenches or the barriers, or even we can have shelter beds for saving the resources. It is our duty to protect the environment, protect the resources, as well as use the resources wisely so that it will be available for the next generation also to use. Thank you for watching, and the next topic of the lesson, water, that will be in the next video. Water and natural vegetations and wildlife, this all will be in the next video. Thank you.